Are you ready? Are you ready?
As I've gotten older, now that I play in a jazz band, I sometimes play in a rock band, sometimes I play in an orchestra for performances like musicals. It gives me an outlet that I don't think about my work for those 3 hours, and it's pure joy to be able to create music. Suits That Rock started about 6 years ago as a way in which some older executives like me that might have played music at an earlier age, generally played in rock bands or in popular bands of the day. Well, we bring together about 40 or 50 executives from across the region. We practice for about 6 months and we perform for about 3.5 hours, 2 Saturdays, consecutive Saturdays, to not only a lot of people who seem to enjoy watching us, but we get the biggest kick out of it. We kind of go back in time, and we're back there on the stage of whatever band or bands we played in. Some of the individuals actually were with major bands that toured the region or toured the country. It's a great deal of fun.
Right now, music is a very strong hobby for me. It's a very important part of my life also. But from a hobby viewpoint, I play in several local rock bands. I play in a jazz band or two. I try to play once or twice every month. I interact with Kenton County Academies quite a bit in my role as the Toyota representative. And in that, we focus mostly on STEM initiatives, but actively we've been pushing for the STEAM initiative, which is including the arts and music of that portion. In the academy setting, I've been completely impressed with how the school and the students interact in presenting a path forward into the work environment and also into the workforce arena. The students have an opportunity to see what direction they want to take, whether they wish to go toward a college-based education or more of a workforce development education. And I think the arts play a big part in helping make that final decision.
Actually took me into an opportunity with the Reds to play organ. They hadn't had an organist in a few years, and by chance we were at a meeting with them, and I kind of got my foot in the door playing the organ with the Reds, so I've been doing that for 4 seasons now, and I do that whenever they're in town and my schedule allows. It gives a good balance. There are a lot of stressors, I think, in life, and music is a way to kind of escape that. And I know I use it when I can get overwhelmed with a lot of things through just daily life and my profession. And when I play my music, it's just me and my music, and there doesn't have to be any stressors. I can just think about that and focus on that. But it can be more than that. It can be a profession too. You know, all the ways I've used music have ended up I've used them to make money too. They've not been a full-time career, but they've been supplementary careers. So I think it's important to keep it in education so kids know and can learn how to do something they enjoy, and then possibly make money doing it and find a way to support themselves doing it. The band is a local band. It's called the Griswolds, and we play pretty much the Cincinnati area, and we'll play on the weekends, you know, maybe 4 or 5 times a month. And we're just a cover band. We play whatever songs we like in the 80s. We stick to the 80s genre.
I'm also really fortunate that I never stopped playing, and so I have this wonderful dual career in a sense of being able to play music with chamber musicians from all over Greater Cincinnati, play with some ensembles, and some of those ensembles are people who are amateurs. They're people who are physicians and lawyers and scientists and other kinds of professionals in other fields. But again, they've held on to that passion, and so I have this wonderful mix of professional music, amateur music, and then professional radio.
It allows me to understand how to interact with people in another way besides just face-to-face communication. I think if you can collaborate in different levels, it helps you focus on what the other side of the table is saying. Also, it's helped me a lot in problem solving and being able to work through a problem that is sometimes a little bit more complex than what it appears on the surface.
When I was a young college graduate and looking around for work and trying to decide, again, what exactly my profession was going to be, you know, music is a very competitive profession. It's like acting, you know. Anything in the arts, it's definitely a competitive field. And I also realized that the thing that I loved about music was the ability to connect with people. And when I had an opportunity to get what at the time was a day job in radio, I fell in love with it, and I realized that, my goodness, this is a way to connect with people who love music and connect with them very directly, very one-on-one on the radio. And in fact, connect with more people who are passionate about music, because, you know, there might be 100,000 people listening to the radio station at a particular time. I don't know of any concert venues that have 100,000 seats in them. So it actually worked out that I have the ability to perform, I guess, if you will, but also connect with people who love music and are passionate or interested in music on a much bigger scale than I realized. And so that's how I ended up falling in love with the radio aspect of music, or the music delivery system, I guess. But I'm also really fortunate that I never stopped playing, and so I have this wonderful dual career, in a sense of being able to play music with chamber musicians from all over Greater Cincinnati, play with some ensembles, and some of those ensembles are people who are amateurs. They're people who are physicians and lawyers and scientists and other kinds of professionals in other fields. But again, they've held on to that passion, and so I have this wonderful mix of professional music, amateur music, and then professional radio.
I had never left the great state of Maryland or DC or Virginia until I moved here. Moving here and getting the job with the orchestra, it's a very good touring orchestra. So I've had lots of opportunities to go all around the world. We've gone to Japan a couple of times, and China to play in the Beijing Olympics, and Europe a few times, and it's been absolutely fabulous. It's been something I've had to get used to, being the little kid who was, you know, scared to leave DC, but it's been a great experience and very educational, and I love it. I love it. I'm so glad that I auditioned and won the job. I love playing, and it's a lot of fun.
For kids growing up, having that group, that sense of being part of a group from middle school to high school to college, I think can help an individual figure out where they fit in the world. And young people are always trying to figure out where they fit in the world. Music helps them figure out where they fit.
Including music in an educational environment is so important in so many different ways. Of course, you've got the arts that need to be represented more and more in the school system, but you also have, music allows the ability to be creative. It allows the ability to problem solve. It allows some critical and logical thinking skills to interact with yourself. It allows you to focus. And more importantly, when you become part of a musical event, you learn how to interact with that group, and you know when to step up and solo, you know when to sit back and let somebody else take the lead. But it just, overall, it gives you the opportunity to become a very large, integral part of a wonderful group of musicians and activities and events. And when you play well and you see an audience react, there is no better feeling than that. Regardless of whether you're making money doing it or you're just playing from the heart, it is the best feeling in the world.
You know, when I look to hire individuals to work at Gateway Community College, one of the things I look for is how adaptable they are to the situation. I'm looking for people who are creative. I'm looking for people who can think outside the box, if you will. I'm looking at people who have demonstrated some creativity, and oftentimes when I find out they've been part of a musical career, that tells me a little bit something different about them, and they have some skills, especially if they tell me they were in the high school band and the marching band and they were in the college band or whatever. I know I have somebody that understands discipline. I know I have somebody that really has demonstrated dedication far better than had they not done that. I think it helps people to be creative and to get outside themselves, especially when I find out an individual has performed in some way. That tells me that they're not afraid to get out in front and to perhaps speak their mind. I'm looking for people who have that critical thinking skills and that performance skill. In education, it's all about performance. In music, it's all about performance.
I think it's important to keep music in education and just your life because it gives a good balance. There are a lot of stressors, I think, in life, and music is a way to kind of escape that. And I know I use it when I can get overwhelmed with a lot of things through just daily life and my profession. And when I play my music, it's just me and my music. And there doesn't have to be any stressors. I can just think about that and focus on that. But it can be more than that. It can be a profession too. You know, all the ways I've used music have ended up I've used them to make money too. They've not been a full-time career, but they've been supplementary careers. So I think it's important to keep it in education so kids know and can learn how to do something they enjoy, and then possibly make money doing it and find a way to support themselves doing it.
I've actually chosen music as a career, but if you don't want to be a musician for the rest of your life professionally, I think it's probably even better. It can really enhance many aspects of your life. Hand-eye coordination, social aspects. I know people who are in their 50s and 60s getting together in orchestras and bands and are still playing and enjoy it immensely. It's good for your physical condition. It's good for your heart and soul. Music is just wonderful. It makes you feel good, and it's a very positive thing.
The thing that really jumps out at me is how many people in very prominent and very challenging professions find that music is just such a key part of their training. I was so delighted and really tickled recently that the Nobel Prize winner, Thomas Sudhoff, who shared the prize for one of the medicine prizes, he said that his most influential teacher of his entire career was his bassoon teacher. And now you think, wow, a neuroscientist is crediting someone who's now a Nobel Prize winner, is crediting his bassoon teacher. And he said because the bassoon teacher really instilled in him that it's important to practice and listen and practice and listen, and that repetition and again that discipline, that kind of determination is really an important part of no matter what you do, whether it's science or math or music. That kind of discipline you learn, that kind of focus that you learn in music is just, it is almost unique to that process of learning a musical instrument. So I think that that's a really good example of why music is so important, and not just important for its own intrinsic value, which it certainly has, but because it really does train our brains, and it trains us as whole people to really look at problems and look at our careers or our lives as whole entities and not just little bits and pieces that get tied together.
Music leads to a more fulfilling life. So if you are involved in music, that is something that you're giving to the world.
Good afternoon. I'm Terry Holliday. I'm Commissioner of Education for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. But before I was a Commissioner of Education, I was a teacher. I taught high school band and middle school band for 16 years. Before that, I was a musician in college. I played the trombone. I was in many groups. I played in a lot of orchestras and marching bands and also played a lot of small group dances and things like that. So I've spent a lot of my career with other musicians, and I can tell you that music made a big difference in my career. What did music do for me? It helped me become self-disciplined. It helped me accept responsibility for setting goals and reaching those goals through hard work. It also helped me with learning how to work with others, collaboration, teamwork, problem solving, and leadership skills. So, why is music education very important to overall education? Well, the research is very clear. Music education will help all students be more successful in reading, language arts, college entrance exams. There's a very close correlation with music and increased performance on math. Also, it's the skills that all of our employers are looking for in future employees: problem solving, teamwork, collaboration. Most organizations today think of themselves like a symphony orchestra. It's critical that all parts of the orchestra work together to perform a beautiful piece of music. Same with any business, same with the education department here in Kentucky. All of our parts of this organization have to work together to create great things for kids in Kentucky. So, I'm a music educator first, and I'll be a music educator last. So music education is vital to a well-rounded student, and it's vital to the success of our country. Thanks, and keep playing.